Time Walk with me.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Time Walk with me. Due to the popularity of my more out-there commander decks, I set a challenge for myself to build around a very strange creature. According to EDH Rec, it's only in 354 decks, so I decided to never mind their suggestions and just look through my collection for cards that might fit well in it. I think I came up with something very interesting and unique. The commander, as you already know from the thumbnail and all that, Captain Rex Nebula. This guy can pilot anything as long as it isn't a land, or instant or sorcery. Any permanent. At the beginning of your combat step, it turns one of your non-land permanents into a vehicle with power and toughness equal to its mana cost. If it damages something, be that in combat or not, you roll a 6-sided die. If you hit the vehicle's mana cost, it does damage equal to the vehicle's mana value to any target, and then you sacrifice it. Rex can pilot an enchantment, a pair of gloves, a little girl, himself, any non-land permanent that you control. Just keep in mind that this effect is mandatory, though you don't have to actually pilot or attack with the vehicle. But you will want to, because that's how this deck works. The selection of permanents that I had in mind for Captain Rex are mostly creatures. This turns creatures with high mana costs compared to their power and toughness into much larger vehicles. I'll go through the list and explain the strategy further. Ruck Egg. If this ends up crashing, it's a good thing because then I get a 4/4 flying bird. Blink Dog. Double Strike tends to increase a creature's mana cost by a lot, but Captain Rex ignores that fact and makes them as big as they cost. Eker Wellspring. If this crashes, you draw a card. Combat Thresher. You can have a 3/3 or a 7/7 with double strike a little later. Ryusei the Falling Star. Not exactly sure how that is pronounced, but that is my best shot. This becomes a moderately sized board wipe if it crashes, through no fault of Captain Rex's expert piloting skills. Spite Bellows. If this crashes, which it won't, it does extra damage as it goes out. Meteor Golem. This is an expensive removal spell, but then it becomes a big vehicle. Clockwork Hydra. The Clockwork artifact creatures are really good in this deck because they have extra power and toughness thanks to Captain Rex. So I also put in Clockwork Beast, Clockwork Steed, Clockwork Dragon, and Clockwork Vorak. Then we have Quende, Pride of Femeref. He becomes a 4/4 double striker. Siege Striker. He becomes a 3/3 double Siege Striker and gets bigger the more creatures you tap when he attacks. All he needs is evasion. Sky Spear Cavalry. Flying and double strike are a nice combination, especially on a 5/5 vehicle. I guess the captain will just sit on the lady's shoulders on top of the griffin. I'm sure it won't crash. Mindless Automaton. An extra +4/+4 makes this a 6/6 vehicle. Shivan Branch Burner. This dragon is pricey, but Convoke makes it a little easier to cast. Then you get a 7/7 flying hasty dragon for Captain Rex to ride. Avenging Huntbonder. This becomes a 5/5 double striker that gives double strike to something else too. Parhelion 2. This is already a vehicle, but Captain Rex doesn't care. He makes it an 8/8 with some nice keywords that gives you angels when it attacks, and it's guaranteed not to crash since a 6-sided die doesn't go up to 8. And of course Captain Rex is the best pilot, so he never crashes. Sky Scanner. This becomes a 3/3 flyer that gives you a card and does 3 extra damage on crash landing. Not that Captain Rex ever crashes. He doesn't. No, he doesn't. Chrome Steed. This becomes a 6/6 vehicle as long as you have 3 or more artifacts. Thunderous Orator. He gets whatever keyword ability on a long list that your other creatures have, and since so many creatures in this deck have double strike, there's a good chance he will too. Twin Blade Geist. Just a basic 2/2 with double strike. Good stuff. Core Blade Master. Another 2/2 with double strike, whose second ability probably won't end up doing anything. What's more fun than piloting a pilot piloting a griffin? Piloting an opponent's pilot piloting a griffin. These cards steal permanents, most of them temporarily, from opponents so Captain Rex can pilot them to victory. Frenzied Fugue. Malevolent Whispers. Portent of Betrayal. Lose Calm. Claim the Firstborn, Tentative Connection, Act of Treason, Shackles of Treachery, Traitorous Greed, Hijack, Pax Betrayal, The Shattered States Era, Mascot Interception, Song Mad Treachery, Word of Seizing. This one can take any permanent, even a land, but if you use it on a land, it can't become Captain Rex's noble steed. Aladdin. This guy is awesome. He really should be legendary, but the card was made before legends were a thing. He might become a bit of a target, but at least that uses up your opponent's resources. Fire Diamond, Marble Diamond, Arcane Signet, Burnished Heart, Commander Sphere, Felwar Stone, Soul Ring, Hedron Archive, Mind Stone, Solemn Simulacrum, Wayfarer's Bauble, and Vessel of Volatility. Darksteel Mutation. This can neutralize an opponent's commander nicely. Divine Gambit. If your opponent does end up putting out something devastating, you can steal it from them and smack them with it. Secure the Scene, Wing Shards, and Reduce to Memory. Some of this supports Captain Rex very nicely, and some of it is just handy utilities. Archivist of Ogma, Citadel Siege, Aeronaut Admiral. This can help make sure your vehicles get through your opponent's defenses. Vow of Duty. This both strengthens and neutralizes a potential attacker. You could even put it on your own creature. Blade Historian. I hated Double Strike when it first came out, but I can see its uses now. Krark's Other Thumb. This came from a joke set, but with all the dice rolling in the D&D sets, it's not really a joke anymore. It's especially handy in this deck. I like how you can ignore either of the rolls rather than just the lower one like in other similar cards. So if you want something to crash, you can make it more likely to crash. If you want it not to, you can make it more likely not to. Not that the captain ever crashes. Never. Priority Boarding. You'll be rolling a die every turn, so this can give you some nice card advantage. We have, of course, Plains and Mountains. We also have Battlefield Forge, Phyrexia's Core. If a permanent you steal doesn't end up crashing, and why would it? Captain Rex is the greatest pilot of all time. You can sacrifice it with this. Ash Barrens, Command Tower, Path of Ancestry, Rogue's Passage, Thriving Bluff, Thriving Heath, Temple of Triumph, Rustvale Bridge, Wind-Scarred Crag, Boros Garrison, and Lorehold Campus. So how did I do? Did I turn this little-used Captain Kirk into a true Zap Brannigan? Share your opinion below.